as long as it's in the next 10 seconds.
Okay. Tonight the topic I will be refuting is about shark finning. The major claim of this topic was that allowing people to hunt sharks legally for the purpose of finning them has a negative effect on the marine world. The advocates supporting secondary claims for this topic were that the overfishing of sharks will lead to collapsing populations, as well as shark finning harms other marine animals. The first supporting claim of this topic states many factual claims about the decline of the marine ecosystem if shark finning continues. The audience is given many hypothetical examples about what would likely happen if actions such as overfishing and finning did not stop, but no concrete examples were ever brought to the surface. The biggest weakness I found about this supporting claim was that the argument and support were reliant upon one single assumption. The speaker states an estimate was made that if killing rates continue and finning increases, most shark species will be lost within the decade. Not only is this a hypothetical example, but there is no citation on where this data came from, as well as providing little evidence around this example. This point being the sole foundation of the argument, somewhat similar to a cluster argument, shows how weak the argument is for the supporting claim and how if this point falls, the rest of the argument is null and void. Another point brought about in this claim was that the decrease in shark populations would lead to an increase in stingray and skate populations, in turn decreasing the amount of oysters and scallops in the ocean due to the food chain. No further evidence was provided on how this point reflects positively on the major claim. All that can be deduced from this is that there will be less oysters and scallops than usual. No statistics on how many less oysters or scallops are in the ocean is provided. And the question remains on what the effect of the marine ecosystem would be, if any. Moving on to the second supporting claim for this topic, the point formed about people who fin are catching huge amounts of other marine animals lacked factual evidence and statistics. Dolphins, sea turtles, and whales were mentioned to be among the most captured, but no numbers were used or any data on if the amount of these species being caught even affects the ecosystem in a negative manner. The next point on the supporting claim is that the lines used for finning accidentally catch other marine animals and kill them. The point is supported with no data and very little evidence. The argument lacks any expert opinion or example. The lack of this, as well as citations and data, bring these points close to irrelevance for the major claim. In conclusion, the major claim allowing people to hunt sharks for the purpose of finning them has a negative effect on the marine world was supported by just two supporting claims. The supporting the claims themselves had potential in their content, but without factual data and statistics or the use of citations to show expert opinion, it weakened the argument significantly.
All right, well, all the structural stuff is fine. It's very easy to follow your argument. Your focus on the first point suggests that it's a key link in the argument, not a cluster argument, but it's actually a chain argument that you're making a reference to. And you cite the lack of data from the advocate. Since you're saying that there isn't any data, you ought to point out if they provided no source or if it was just a conclusionary statement. Since you also have a bibliography and there's, I assume, a bibliography that went along with the outline, you might want to look at the sources that were provided by the advocate so you could present a more aggressive position on the evidence or the lack of evidence that the advocate cited. There's no contrary evidence on any of the points on your position, so in essence, you're relying on just questions and presses on the argument that the advocate's presenting. I thought your analysis of the reasoning is okay, except that, of course, as soon as, let's say this argument went one step deeper and all of a sudden the evidence shows up on the estimated number of sharks or some research that's done, then basically everything you've said has gone out the window, and that I think is a little bit problematic, so you need to build something a little bit more definitive. I thought you projected pretty well and you explained your concepts well, but you needed to be perhaps a little more aggressive in responding to the advocate's points instead of just asking questions and making presses. All right, thank you.